viewers. You're welcome to another edition of our podcast tagged Stronger Together. My name is Dr. Abiolad, your host. Thank you for being here. It's going to be a very beautiful edition because today we have a special guest on here with us. It's going to be very, very beautiful. I'm excited myself. And we are here to correct some values, some insinuations, some preemptive talks around marriages. And that's got to do with the idea of GenZs. And today, our topic is going to be GenZ marriage or kingdom marriage. You're welcome again, viewers. It's great honor to introduce my guest this afternoon to you. She's somebody very dear to me, very lovely, charming, not married, single lady, a Christian as well. You're welcome, my lovely guest. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Mommy. I'm Abiolad. I'm the daughter of your host, and I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Fope, you know what I really believe about. I'm a strong supporter of
Yeah.
I'm somebody who really would leave anything to support people when it comes to things, to come to relationship and marriage. But I've come to realize that your people from your generation have a very different perspective about marriage than people from my own generation. And I'm not talking culturally here, but at the same time, well, like our title says GenZ marriage and kingdom marriage. I'm going to take it back to the age. For now, you're going to clock 26 in September. So, at the time you were 16 years old, what did you think marriage was like? What was your thoughts then about marriage when you were age 16? Are you clear with that? You can see it from various perspectives, from the church, from experience from other people and all sorts. So what did you think? I'm taking you back now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think just in general, at 16, I thought marriage was simply about love and longevity. I didn't really think about the complexities that came with marriage, like compatibility, etc. To me, it was just, if you love somebody, if you felt these sort of feelings towards somebody and how long you've been with somebody, I feel like those were the sort of elements to me that proved to be what a good marriage is, just love and how long it is that you've been together.
Thank you so much. So at that age, with your thoughts about marriage,
Yeah.
were you thinking of marrying at that time, like, okay, I'm gonna marry?
If we're thinking about it in just the perspective of like love and being with somebody for a long time, then yes, it was something that I wanted, not deeply desired. I was 16. It was just, I would like to be married at some point in my life.
Now, at 26, the age you are now,
Yeah.
was there a moment you realized, oh, it's not that simple? And what actually changed your perspective from the way you thought when you were 16 and now? So what actually changed?
I think it's just the awareness I've developed since I was 16 up until now. Exposure and just hearing about people's personal experiences in romantic dynamics and my own. I don't feel like it's as simple as just love and longevity. There's so many components of marriage and partnership that I feel like makes a marriage that somebody needs to consider before making such a big decision. I guess at 16, I knew it was a big decision and I knew it was a big deal, but now it's an even bigger deal. It's an even bigger decision. So I think thinking about everything holistically, it doesn't seem as trivial as I once thought about it. Now it's a very, very big thing. It's a bigger thing.
So to you feel at this stage now you have the thought and the idea or knowledge that marriage entails more than I used to think when I was
100%, yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what level will you place marriage there?
I don't understand the question.
Like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you feel that marriage is a good thing? Or
I don't think the promo on marriage right now is great. So when you say the scale, what is really good and what is really bad? Is like 10 really good and 1 really bad, or
yeah,
what am I meaning?
Scale it yourself.
I would say like bang on in the middle, 5, 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, like singleness is great. So I think I've reached the point where it's like singleness has its benefits as much as marriage does. Like I don't have a favorite. I think there's benefits when it comes to both. So I would say I'm right in the middle.
Okay. 50-50. You know what I'm really still happy about your scaling?
Yeah.
It's still 50-50. You're not like giving it 30-70, you understand? And that's really good. That's really good. I think it just shows that from your side, you are still representing like the GenZs are still being hopeful about marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get there. What's the biggest lie that your generation has ever had about marriage? The biggest lies that have been told about marriage. You know what's like people have always said, okay, this is what marriage is, and to your generation, the Gen Z generation believes that no, it's a lie. This is not what you guys talk about marriage.
That marriage is, it's almost like, I don't think your generation would define it as that, but marriage has elements of like almost like a humiliation ritual and endurance.
What did you say? Did you say humiliation
ritual?
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna break that down.
Humiliation ritual, like marriage has periods where, for marriage, you have to sacrifice certain things that will bring humiliation to you personally. So I'm trying to word it in the best way I can. So if you get married, there's some things you just naturally have to sacrifice and put up with, even if it doesn't align with your personal values as a person. Because it's marriage, you just have to endure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
one of the biggest
lies that your generation don't want to really abide with.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Okay, the conversation is getting very beautiful and interesting. The other time, I think you mentioned something about humiliation rituals. That's a huge one. And I want to believe that maybe you're going to break it down in a simple language that our audience will actually understand. And I don't want to preempt you. What do you mean by that? You know, you can share that based on experience or be practical about it.
Okay. When I say humiliation ritual, being put in a position or being in a position in your relationship where you have to endure a type of suffering or lose your self-respect, your self-worth for the sake of being in a marriage that's pleasing to God. And when I say pleasing to God, I actually mean that's pleasing to other people in the church for optics. So let's take the stance of, let's say somebody is being abused. I know you have the awareness that somebody in an abusive relationship shouldn't stay, and you're in a position of you're in a high position in the church, but you would encourage somebody who's in an abusive relationship to leave. People in the church, a lot of people, that's not the reality. And I'm saying this from the perspective of a Gen Z, from the perspective of a social worker, from the perspective of a friend who's seen and heard these experiences. You'd be surprised at the amount of people that have been told to stay and to endure because God will change the person, because God will make the relationship better, because God will heal, because God... And I feel like with kingdom marriages, they always look to like who they perceive to be in a better position to communicate and speak to God. So they'll go to their pastor who they believe who they respect. So when you respect someone, you're going to listen to practically everything they have to say. And when you have a pastor who's giving you what you deem to be great advice, it could actually it leads to your suffering, it leads to death. Like there's so many women who would stay in a relationship where they've been abused because their pastors told them, oh, just stay, God will heal, things will get better, don't worry, God will change him, all these things. And they rarely actually provide practical, realistic advice. It's just to stay and to endure. I don't believe personally that a God who loves me, who wants the best for me, would encourage me to stay in a relationship with somebody who's abusing me. God is love, God is patient, God is kind. And if I'm in a dynamic that doesn't encourage those things, then that's not of God to me personally.
But you know, you are really telling our audience that the Gen Z know the Bible. The Gen Z have identity. The Gen Z know who they are. The Gen Z know they are not lost in, their identity, because when you know what God says about you, you know what you want, so that anything. And I think your fight as Gen Z is that you're just fighting against what God did not say.
Yeah.
God did not talk about abuse. God talked about tolerance. God talked about patience. But patience is actually different from abuse. And I can see you from I can see and hear the mind of the Gen Zs from what you just listed. And I want to believe that even the Gen Z would I think that you guys believe that the church actually got it wrong. And that would have led me to my next other question, which I have, which says, what has the church gotten wrong? Can I still take it there? Even though you've mentioned part of it, that the Gen Zs and the kingdom marriage are they presented to the Gen Z in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Even though that's not actually the mind of God, the way that's been presented. So how has the church presented the kingdom marriage wrongly to you guys?
I think taking it away from the fact that when I think of kingdom marriage, what I define as kingdom marriage is a union centered, it's a God-centered union, independent of a person's personal happiness, beliefs. It's just you and a person together. It's a healthy partnership and a healthy relationship where you're both helping each other grow spiritually. That's outside of personal sort of interests. Yeah, it's a together
desire.
Yeah, it's a together thing, but it's mainly a God thing. But I feel like what the older generation has done, just like they did with religion and they've done with Christianity, is bring culture into it, is bring personal beliefs into it, is to bring selfishness into it. And now you've tainted something that was originally meant to be something so beautiful into something so undesirable, something people are like afraid of now. Like if you were to still ask me, I feel like I'm more scared of getting married to the wrong person than to even have children. Biologically, I know what I would have to go through if I want to have a child. But the thought of getting married to the wrong person is more
having a child on its own is like something,
It's still scary, but the thought of getting married.
But having a good support will have made that easier.
But if I was to get married under what is defined as kingdom marriage now, to me, it sounds scary as hell. Like I'm not sure I want any parts in that. if I'm thinking of if I'm defining it under what is deemed as Christian marriage now, I don't want any parts.
I think what you guys really expect from us is just to have a switch, a change of mind in our, and that's one message I want to pass to the audience. For every marriage out there, there's somebody looking at you. There is a life you are influencing. There are other generations that you are actually impacting through your own belief, through what you it's not about, like Fope said, it's not about, how you feel that a marriage should be, but how God has described a marriage to be. God is love, God is patient, God does not, expect you to be humiliated, to be tortured emotionally. It's a place where God has actually said, can two agree except they are one, except they, come together, you understand? It's just about, I know the thought of God really. God has something really good for marriage. It's just that the society and the wrong, we have regionalized marriage, you understand? Religion is different from faith, like the real belief. So I think somebody is watching us out there. The mind of God towards marriage is for love to be grown, is for love to be built, is for lives to be affected, and the beauty of God's, bringing one two people together. God has good intention, and that's the focus of the GenZs. I think we shouldn't really make them scared of marriage. We should make it welcoming and be truthful about it. That's going to take us to another level for them. I know we have talked about the wrong, presentation about marriage, to GenZs, and if somebody comes to you in a couple of, maybe after this podcast, what really do you have to say, to them? Like, are you, or is
somebody my age?
So anybody, like, what are your strong thoughts that you really embrace, that you believe about marriage?
I believe in taking your time before you get married.
Okay.
I think we also live. Another thing that sometimes we receive from the older generation is the pressure to do it. It's pressure to get married very quickly without getting to know yourself, without getting to know the person. And I feel like those sort of things they plant seeds for problems later in the marriage. As early as 6 months to a year in a marriage, you find that things are fading because people didn't get to know themselves or the person prior to the marriage. There's a pressure, I relate to women a lot because I'm a woman. There's a pressure on women, especially, God help you if you're a Christian woman, to get married at a certain age. They will bring things in like your biological clock. Get married early so that you can have kids early. Do this early so that this can happen early. If you don't get married at this time, at some point you become undesirable to men. I just feel like those are all such, they aren't ways to, they're not encouraging. I feel like if you're Gen Z and marriage is something that you desire, I feel like you should take your time. I feel like you should learn to be selfish, especially if you're under 25. You should learn to be selfish with what you do, your time, your dreams, your goals and wishes, because as soon as you enter a marriage, there's so many things you have to think about before you think about yourself. One thing I love right now is how often I get to think about myself without having to risk assess as much. I think about what I want, how it would affect me. I don't have to think about how it would affect my partner, how it would affect my kids. I feel like I enjoy being able to filter to date and filter out the things I like, the things I don't like, the things, sometimes you even date someone and you figure out it's not even something that the other person needs to work on, it's things that you need to work on yourself. That's before you enter a certain relationship. So I feel like using your singleness to your benefit, enjoying your singleness, preparing, if marriage is what you want, I don't want to say prepare yourself for marriage. I just feel like you should use that period and enjoy it. I don't feel like you should allow external opinions to get into your head, because there will be a lot of it, especially from the older generation. There is no rush to get married. You get married and you get married to the right person when the time is fit.
That's it for me. There is no rush. There is no rush. There is no rush. Parents out there is no rush. I think one of those things that the GenZ dislike about marriage is to be coerced to do it, to be forced to do it. Can I ask a personal question now?
Yeah.
Have you at any time been forced? Do you often hear those words from maybe the older generation or your parents, friends, family? You understand? Have you been kept under pressure?
I don't think you and Daddy have forced me, but I would say older generations outside of you and Daddy, I don't think you've ever forced me. I've never felt pressure from yourself. And you did well in that sense to get married, but I feel like sometimes the older people that I do know, sometimes there is a pressure to just get this thing done, do it quickly. That's especially when you've done. I feel like I've done quite well for myself. I've done to uni, I've gotten the job, I'm saving, I'm doing all these things. To them, the next step would be to get a house, and the next step would be to get married. But I've never wanted to live my life according to a certain timeline or in the traditional structure of things. Nothing in my life has ever been straightforward, so I don't believe that the next step for me would just be to get the house, the next step for me would just be to get married. I feel like there's something else I'm meant to be doing before this happens. And when it does happen, it would be, the testament of it would just be amazing because of how much I've prepared myself, how much I've lived.
Preparation.
Literally, everything I'm doing now, I feel like marriage is it's just going to be a component of it to add to
what you have built.
Yeah, to what already is a great life. Marriage is not my end goal. It's just
that is it.
It's not everything.
Okay. I think generations will listen to this podcast. I'm telling you, and I think you've made it clear, even as a Gen Z. All the points you've actually highlighted, they are futuristics, and I think they are good foundation for anybody to want to build on. A lot of people got married that never identified themselves, that never knew themselves, and when you match and you go into such a journey without knowing yourself, and that's where the crisis actually begins. And I think this is a Gen Zs, you meant well, really. You meant well, and I think it's just a way of older generations try to misunderstood you, and you don't even an adult that is older than you, maybe 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, would not actually would not actually have laid such a foundation to that the kind of life that you're kind of building out for yourself. I think with the structure that there's a kind of template that older generation have that are actually merged and smeared into traditional marriage. Some people are Christian and they still would okay, you are 30, you must get married. You just finish your school, the next thing is to be married. And I think that makes you get scared of even seeing the truthfulness in kingdom marriage. So I'm gonna, as Gen Zs, I know that you can't take the Gen Zs off social media, social media in all. So I want to ask, personally, even from your own, point of view, how has this social media stuff impacted your views about marriage?
About marriage, I feel it's impacted it negatively, if I'm being completely honest, because you get a lot of couples who have what they deem to be a kingdom marriage, and they share their experiences online, and a lot of the time it's just the woman enduring what I would deem to be very embarrassing situations for the sake of marriage, and the man he's not enduring the level of embarrassment that a woman would in that dynamic. So that's just, I would say, one of the examples of why I feel like it has affected my views on marriage negatively. But even when I think about experiences of unbelievers, you will find that some of them have what I perceive to be more enjoyable marriages than somebody in a kingdom marriages, and that's simply because of the respect they show each other, the values that they share. The only thing that's missing, which is obviously a big factor for a lot of people, would be the component of it being, the marriage being God-centered. So I feel like the way I perceive kingdom marriage online, and the way the influences, I would say, that has come with it, it makes me deem a lot of non-kingdom or non-Christian marriages more enjoyable than what a kingdom marriage would be.
Can you come again? Did you say your thoughts, through social media impact?
Yeah.
That even the so-called kingdom marriage has not really exhibited what is expected.
No.
Does not give you does not feed you. The values of Christian marriages is not even being displayed very well on social media.
No, it's not appealing to me. It's never been really something, even now, something I desired. Or I desire marriage, but I would question whether a kingdom marriage is, I question whether a kingdom marriage is something I want.
Okay. So on that note, that's going to take us to another level of this discussion. For you as Gen Z's generation, I know your values ties around you going against abuse, being pampered. You talk about the butterflies. You're not so much concerned about blueprints, you understand?
I wouldn't say those are necessarily values. I would say that those are standards and expectations.
Okay. So for you as a somebody who is in this, I know you share this both two words that we're talking about. You're Christian,
yeah,
and at the same time you're a Gen Z.
Yeah.
So for what are those principal values that, from your own side of the world, what are those things that you stand for?
There's a lot.
Can you tell us?
There's a lot. I feel like I'll just give three.
Okay.
Emotional stability.
Emotional stability. When you talk about emotional stability, okay, maybe you should list it and we'll take it one after the other.
Emotional stability, alignment in values.
Alignment in values.
So alignment in lifestyle, ambition, faith, and I want to say financial stability, but there's no way of saying that without sounding shallow. But financial stability is a big one for me personally. And what have I mentioned?
You've mentioned financial stability. You've mentioned emotional stability.
Emotional safety.
Emotional safety. So which one?
In values, and when I say alignment in values, I think I mentioned ambition as well.
Do you see your friends, like your people of your age group, actually majority of all of them, getting stuck and believing in these four things that you've mentioned? Do you see most of them wanting that?
People seek those sort of values in the relationships
that you people look forward to having. So let's take them one after the other.
Okay.
Because for maybe you pick one yourself.
Okay. Emotional stability.
So when you say emotional stability, what are you talking about?
Feeling safe in my relationship, feeling trust in my relationship, feeling as if. So emotional stability, feeling safe, feeling as if I can have certain conversations with my partner without it exploding or without feeling like it's the end of the world, being able to communicate effectively, being able to be vulnerable without feeling as if somebody is going to use my vulnerability against me.
Against you?
Especially in heated moments.
Okay.
Feeling, I would say that's it for me when I think about emotional stability. When I say alignment in values, I mean alignment when it comes to ambition. I feel like we should be on the same level ambition wise, like when we think about the future, I don't want to be the only person thinking and wishing and dreaming for something big. I want us to be on the same level when it comes to things like that.
Okay.
In lifestyle, I feel like there's a certain life I'm already living. I don't want to go into marriage downgrading from that lifestyle. I want to upkeep and move up when I think of lifestyle.
With that lifestyle.
Yeah. And I guess it kind of ties into financial stability as well. I don't suffer in my father's house. I can't go into your house suffering financially.
Oh, the Gen Z comes in here now. That's the Gen Z trait, really.
Yeah.
You want a progressive way of your life.
Yeah.
Driving through the married life that you actually would.
And I'm not saying that it's easy, but I feel like for me, when I think of the position I'm in and the position my parents, you and daddy have put me in, I don't feel like I should be in any way downgrading from that. I've already had a head start, so I need to
upgrade.
Yes.
My God. Your so-called should be very, is that what they, financial stability. I think maybe I shouldn't really go there. I want to believe that for every other, whether traditional, I wouldn't want us to compare traditional marriage with kingdom marriage. Are you getting me? So for me, I'm going to come out in the other way. Maybe I should give you a rest for a while. For traditional marriage is kind of dictatorship. Like, you don't get to talk when the other person is talking, especially when we talk about traditional. Traditional is more of, African, really. And you don't have to talk when the husband is talking. You have to be the one that is going to be cooking all the time. You have to, how much of stress and humiliation that you can really abhor or go through determines who you are and who you are as a good wife. Determines you being a good wife or not. You understand? Even the traditional says you should stay there until you die. Traditional says, and that can be linked with even kingdom marriage, but that's wrong assumption by everybody. Even in kingdom marriage, it is not expected that you should stay there and die. But I think that's a wrong assumption that is actually believed. God is love, and He created He created us out of love. Maybe you got your Bible app with you there.
Yeah.
I want us to open to this Bible verse, and that's going to actually talk about the mind of God regarding even marriage, what God expects us to do. I think it's in Ephesians 5, 17.
Do you want me to?
Okay, 22. You can read it.
Wives, submit yourselves to your husbands as you do to the Lord.
You can keep reading.
For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church, and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. Thank you.
You see, when you're talking about the other point you were trying to raise about, I think it's a general, assumption that kingdom marriage is said to be built for you to suffer long, for you to suffer, for you to die, for you not to be able to talk as well, even though that is something that is a bit related even to traditional marriage. But God will not ask you to come somewhere and subject you to suffer and subject you to die. Gone are those days when we have the norms of, okay, even if somebody eats you, even Christian couples fight. They eat themselves, they do all sorts. We have gone past that age. God will not give you up for somebody to kill you. If you know that doing the right thing and you knowing the right thing and doing it not is the same. So you eating your wife, eating your husband, fighting. The Bible does not expect that we get stuck there. So for GenZs out there, I want you to believe that outside of abuse, kingdom marriage exhibit patience, exhibit long suffering, but abuse is actually excluded. The Bible even expects that we walk, that he who does not walk, must not eat. So I'm actually backing that. Kingdom marriage backs up being financially stable. You understand? So that's where I'm going. That's going to take us to, I think we're getting towards the end now. As a female, what do you think that the women in church, for example, will understand about you, GenZ? Yeah. What do you think? I think they have a kind of thought about you.
What are the thoughts?
Yeah. What do you think they should understand?
You just said they have a thought about us. What thoughts do older women have about us?
Example, it could be like, okay, they want you to be able to, I think you mentioned one, that they should be able to endure and take anything to be a good wife. To be a good wife is to be quiet. You understand? Being a good wife now means that you can't talk. You can't share your own idea. You can't share your own opinion. You have to keep quiet to present yourself. The silence, in a short word, the silence means good wife. The being silent being good wife.
I don't think being silent means being a good wife. I think being silent just puts a plaster over the most gigantic wound. I feel being a good wife or being a good partner in general is to be able to communicate well, to enter things with understanding, to be patient, to be kind, to display basically everything God was. That's my idea of what a good partner, what a good wife should be. I don't think silencing somebody, not even in just a marriage in general, silencing isn't what I would deem.
So when we say silencing somebody, how can you be silent as a lady in relationship or as a lady as a woman in marriage?
Silencing maybe your husband not asking you or not valuing your opinions
Okay.
in your marriage dynamic, being afraid to speak up about things because you don't want to cause an argument.
And you can be seen as being, submissive. I think a lot of men come from the angle of, believing that when a woman does not talk, that is submission. I want to believe that God actually instructed us that we should submit one to another. You understand? But God is not seeing submission as abuse. God is not seeing submission as being not giving your own opinion. You can have sharing values, sharing opinions. I think it's something that really move the train of a relationship forward. And I think that's what we should learn, especially African women. That's where we should learn. You don't need to lose yourself by keeping quiet, not giving your own opinion. If you don't feel good about something, you should be able to talk about it. If you don't like something, you should be able to say, oh, this is what I feel. If you like color yellow, keeping quiet to like color black that your husband likes does not, dictate that you are a woman. I think for GenZ don't want to see marriage in that light.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I personally would believe about as well. Fopefulua, Breakthrough Oladipo, it's been wonderful having you here. And on this note, we want to say, the thought of God about marriage stands. There is one thing that standeth sure: flower withers, the tree falls down and die, but But one thing I know that is forever sure is that the word of God stands, very sure. God does not change his value. God is love, and God eternally remains to be love. When we talk about kingdom marriage is expressing the love of God, and this is one thing I believe that even GenZ believes about it. You look forward to having it. You can structure your whole life still being who you are, what you want, what you believe, even as GenZs. What's your last word for us to pray?
I don't necessarily agree with the term kingdom marriage anyway, but I don't think it should be kingdom marriage versus Gen Z marriages.
Okay, what should we have?
I think the older generation should just promote and be more understanding of what it means for a marriage to be healthy. So all the elements of what I deem to be a good marriage, as I've mentioned in the past, is what should be promoted, and I feel like the two can coexist. You could have all those components I've mentioned in the marriage and have a God-centered marriage without one overpowering the other. Obviously, God is the most important part, but you can't take away from the fact that all those elements still play a big role. And you can't, for the sake of optics or Christianity or how it looks to the church and the people in the church, redefine. I think what we need to do is deconstruct what is defined as a Christian marriage and redefine it ourselves. And I'm not saying that for just Gen Zs, I'm saying that for everybody. A marriage can be a very, very great thing when you make it God-centered and when you make it God-centered. Yeah, and when you make it your own, outside of all the external factors that we've mentioned, just
making it your own means, from my own understanding, means that not using somebody else's templates, shaping it your own, because we are all individuals. Exactly. With different, dynamics and chemistry. Yeah. So we differ. Thank you so much, Ms. Mofokwefolua. On this note, it's been amazing having you around. And when people come on the podcast, we give them a token, which I'm actually going to do later. I want to thank you for coming, for sparing your time, for cancelling all your appointments. I know we fought over one this morning. I know I did a lot of unofficial things. Please forgive me. And that's one of those things I'm up to change. Is that okay? Thank you, Mufukufilora. God bless you. This is our little gift for Miss Mofokwefolua. On Stronger Together, we normally give a token, a tip for you to remember that you were here and for memorial. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are you not going to present yourself? Stronger Together.
Stronger Together.
It's been an amazing episode of Stronger Together. We appreciate you listening to us, and I hope you've been really impacted by our guest, Ms. Mofokwefolua Oladipo. I'm your host, Dr. Abidemi Demisola Oladipo. Until we see you next time, you can click the like button, subscribe. If you have any question, don't hesitate to put your comment or question on the comment button. Till I come your way next time, have a good day.